All right. So, wants versus needs. Let's lay it all out there and find out what could be blocking your true potential. And get this, when it comes to money blocks, you are in good company because even wealthy people have them. I will even tell you a story about a billionaire who every time his wife ordered a certain type of toilet paper, he would get so angry with her for buying the luxury brand of toilet paper. Can you imagine someone with that much money being that stingy and holding on tight? Well, it can happen to anyone. So don't feel any shame about having money blocks because we are here to learn about them today and we're going to dig deep into them. You see, when you become an entrepreneur, building a business is, I'm going to say, one of the first steps to facing all your inner demons. You can no longer blame your boss for not paying you enough. You are the boss. So all the responsibility goes to you. So you really have to dig deep and start looking at what is the ongoing tug of wars that shows up in our lives and then starts to affect our business. Check what we truly believe, because what we say we believe, yes, I want wealth, I want success, and I want money, and then what we have in our actions can be in total conflict with each other if we're not in the right mindset. So I'm going to jump right in here and ask all of you to say it with me. And it's okay if you have your microphones off. We're going to say it with the microphones off. You get a chance to say it with microphones on later. But these are the phrases I want you to repeat. And yeah, say it as loud or as soft as you want. See if the doggy comes in the room to check if you're okay. But say these phrases with me. I want more power. I want more respect. I want more freedom. I want more options. I want more money. I see some hands going up in the air. That's good. That's good. You're feeling good about that. The reason I did that is because I want you to take note of any of those phrases that you just said that you felt resistance about, or any of those phrases, when I popped them up on the screen, did you immediately feel, I don't really want to say that? Or if you take note of the tone of your voice, maybe your voice went a few octaves lower when you said something like, I want power. Because all of these are connected to money. I think you can all agree with me that people who have a lot of money, let me make sure that the screen is showing. Just a moment. All right, here we go. There's my screen. All right, so we're going to do it again. We're going to do it again. I want more power. I want more respect. I want more freedom. I want more options. I want more money. Yes, I see the hands going up. Good, good. You're saying it out loud just so that you can see how it feels and when you internalize it. We're just jumping right in here. This is going to be a very interactive talk, and we're going to have a great discussion at the end. So stay with me with your pencil and paper and note down anything that is coming up to you as you listen or as you think about these expressions. Because really, what I want us to do is let's sharpen our awareness. Overcoming money blocks, the first step is going to be to sharpen your awareness. Yes, that is the first step, because you, as entrepreneurs and business people, are going to be asking for money. You're going to be charging for money. And in order to do that, you have to be fully aware not to pass judgment. The question is, on who? on yourself. And I hear so many of my entrepreneur sisters talking about how icky and how uncomfortable it is to have a sales call. I understand. I've been there too. Asking for money just felt unnatural. But guess what? There isn't a business around that can operate without money. Moreover, I want you to keep in mind that selling is serving, because that more of that resource that you have available to you, the more staff you can hire, the more marketing you can do, the more people you can bring under your umbrella. So when we are in that sales call and we start to hear these excuses like, I'm going to have to think about it, or more importantly, I can't afford it. Another one that's very common is I have to ask my husband or a family member before I can commit. And sometimes we feel, wow, why is this person, taking so much of my time? And I explained that I had to them a great program and they're backing away. And we might have a little bit of judgment around that. But reality is we end up judging ourselves and kind of rethinking to ourselves, is my program too expensive? Or have I not sold it the right way? What am I doing wrong? And removing that judgment, because you do not want to speak from a place of fear when you present your program. Because speaking from that place of fear and judging others is really a reflection of the energy that you start to feel, and you start to judge yourself. But when you can stand in your power and realize the full potential that comes with your mental freedom, and I mean somebody could just come right up to you and say, sorry, this is too much, I don't want it. And you are still in your power. It's nothing personal. That person doesn't want what you have to offer. You can be confident and have mental and emotional freedom to continue on. All right. So let's name a few of the money mindsets that are so common and prevalent in society today. Number one, scarcity. I could do an entire presentation on scarcity just by itself, because it really is one of the things that we are trained, in fact, to believe. Advertisers do it to us every time we turn on the television. They're telling us, hey, you better get this. It's going to be on sale for a short time only. We only have a few units left. And it's so sad that it's ingrained in our culture that some people believe they have to take from others in a dishonest way because of the scarcity. I'm here to tell you, scarcity is a lie. When you are living in abundance, there is so much more than enough to go around for all of us. That includes clients. Okay, let's move on to shame and judgment. In fact, shame and judgment is so strong, I'm going to come back to that one. I'm going to come back to it, yes. Burden. So another way of looking at burden is responsibility. A lot of people quote the phrase, more money, more problems. And yes, if that is the energy that you create around it, there can be a lot of problems. We see a lot of wealthy people and their relationships break down, and family members struggles, taxes, all of those things can come with their wealth. But it's not something that doesn't happen even with a small amount of money if you are managing it wrong. So we need to free ourselves from the belief that problems come just because you have the money. It's more problems come because you don't have the mindset to expand and accept having greater wealth. All right. Next, alienation. And this can be connected to burden. When you feel that when I make a certain amount of wealth and success, people are going to be looking at me a certain way, and they're going to kind of say, oh, she thinks she's so great. And yeah, there is a possibility to lose some friends in that growth period. But think of it as a growth period. Because in everything in life, as you grow and you expand and you become stronger and more wiser, some people end up getting left behind. Some people from your past may not be as close to you as before. But that's nothing to be afraid of. That is also part of your journey. That's part of your learning experience. Who are your real supporters in your life? And who may be wanting you to stay small? Which comes to my next point, denial. Denial can be as simple as saying, I don't need money. And I have made acquaintances with people that said, no, we don't need money. Society is too money focused, and we will just, it's destroying us. Funny thing, this same person who had such a strong and actually adamant position against wealth had an apartment, had to eat food, had to survive on somebody else's dime. That's right. Someone else was paying for their living space. And yet they felt empowered in the space that, I don't need anything. I don't need money. But someone else had to work so that they could survive. So be careful with that kind of mentality. And shame and judgment are all around us, to the point that we don't even talk about money to each other. So a couple of the things that we are going to look at today with money blocks is, one, the awareness, and two, talking about it. In fact, today I've said money more times than I've ever said in my entire life. Why does it get so awkward to talk about money? And one of the financial gurus, who is also a female entrepreneur, said that in order for women to be paid less in the workplace, there has to be a silence around the money that they're making. So that silence contributes, what I'm saying, the silence contributes to being held back, rather than saying, oh, this is what I'm worth and this is what I'm getting, and opening up that conversation to know what your rights are. Okay, so those are just a few of the money mindsets we'll look at today. And let's get to this part, which is the language around money. And I'm guessing many, if not all of us here, have heard a lot of these phrases in our lifetimes. Number one, most popular, money doesn't grow on trees. Number two, it costs an arm and a leg. 3, save it for a rainy day. All right. I know how to stretch a dollar. Who do I look like? Rockefeller? I couldn't charge that much. Oh, I'm not interested in money. Neither a borrower or a lender be. That's a waste of money. So the thing that I want to tell you is that in moderation and in certain circumstances, these phrases can be true. But anything that is put in excess can be a limit. It can be a limiting belief. I'll tell you my personal story. Save it for a rainy day. That was my favorite. And if I wasn't spending, and if I was holding on to my savings, I would be the was it the grasshopper or the ant? No, I would be the ant in the grasshopper and ant story, who was able to have so much food when the cold winter came. Nobody told me about investing that money and seeing returns on my investing. So program came in, save it for the rainy day. save it for a rainy day, save it for a rainy day. And guess what? Yes, there were rainy days, but there was no flow of money in. I was choking the flow for so long that I couldn't grow and expand to greater things because of one little mindset that told me to believe this is the only way that people should live. And so, of course, Stretch a Dollar came right in behind that. And also, that's a waste of money used to be one of my favorite phrases unconsciously. Unconsciously. So you get this whole kind of self righteous, I'm doing better than other people because I don't do the luxurious things. I very frugal. And this, okay, starts to affect your lifestyle because what you're really telling yourself sometimes is, I'm not worth spending that amount of money on. Yes. And so that can take a lifetime to rebuild yourself after believing that or after that kind of programming comes in. So we can, we can take our mics off now and we can start getting a little bit into the discussion. In fact, I would love if someone could read the Language Around Money, Part B, 1 to 10 for me. Any volunteers to read? Yes, Mugsy, okay.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly. Can you see
Okay.
the screen okay?
Yes, fine, fine. So part B, number 1, oh, this old thing, I bought it on sale. Number 2, I can't afford it. Number 3, you can't keep throwing money around. Number 4, did you win the lottery? 5, the love of money is the root of all evil. Number 6, you can't take it with you. Number 7, it's only money dissociation. Number 8, we shouldn't talk about money. 9, family comes first. Number 10, they're dirt poor and they're filthy rich.
Thank you, Muggs, for your excellent intonation and really putting feeling into that. So yes, we are familiar with that. Number 7, disassociation. That is kind of the hint to the answer of this talk, of that particular phrase. And one of the things I want to say is that as we look closer at these phrases, think about where you might be minimizing yourself, where you might be playing down your expertise and your knowledge, and how you might say, oh, if something good happens, I was just lucky, to kind of disqualify your success. These are kind of things that happen around us in especially childhood, first of all. That's where it first starts, where I used to teach at an elementary school. And I remember one of the kids that I taught, I remember actually bumping, well, not bumping, but seeing her in the park with her family. And what happened is I remember watching her mom walking behind her saying, stop touching that, stop running, quiet down, all of these restrictions. And okay, she wasn't paying any attention to any of them. So she was just this very rambunctious and sweet little girl with, I remember, wild curly hair going everywhere. And I realized at that moment that when we're born, if something's wrong, we cry. We have a voice. We speak out about it. And somewhere along the lines, society and life starts to bring in all of these limitations. Don't run around and play too loud and be so big and taking up space. If you're in a quiet library and two small kids come in, you know right away they're there because they just have that capacity. Those of you who have fur babies, they have that capacity to draw attention to themselves, and it's in a harmless way that they are actually just being themselves. And somewhere along the lines, we start to minimize ourselves and get quieter and reserved. And how should I look? And what will people think about me? And those feelings translate into our money feeling. And so, as we look again, all right, I'm just going to make sure Mic's off. As we look again at the screen, if you have down, I can go back, the 4 types, actually it's 5 types of money mindsets. Which of them do you see in these phrases? So we talked about scarcity, shame, burden, alienation, and denial. Which of them are coming up in these phrases that are seemingly harmless, but come out of our mouths like the slip of a tongue? Money doesn't grow on trees.
Scarcity.
Yes. And all right, and the right next one, right along with that, it costs an arm and a leg. There's no
Maybe judgment. Is it judgment?
Yes. Yes. You are telling that service provider, no, you're doing wrong. You asked me to pay for that. Save it for a rainy day.
Scarcity.
Scarcity again. Yes.
Denial?
Scarcity rules our thing. And denial, not quite. I'm gonna get more into denial later. Money can't buy you happiness, though.
Shame?
Yes. Huge shame. I remember having a talk with a relative about, because I wanted to be an entrepreneur ever since I could remember. 13 years old, I was handing out business cards thinking, this is what a business is. I have a printer, I can hand out cards, yay. Didn't know what would happen next. And unfortunately, there wasn't anyone around to teach me what happens next. But I remember talking with a relative, a female that I looked up to, about these dreams and having this business. And of course, a successful business would have money. And this judgment came, this shaming came, because that's how I felt. Money can't buy you happiness. Okay, but there's this huge disconnect. Like, you're shutting down my dream because it would make me have money? Is that really a bad thing altogether? But that resonated in my head, that at least I didn't believe it. But some people will play small and stay small, and also try and get you to stay small as well because of their limiting beliefs. Let's continue. I could mix it up, but I couldn't charge that much. There's a couple that go in there. Any takers?
Mindset?
Oh, yes. And the mindset of...
Denial?
Say it again?
Is it denial?
Oh, all right. Let me give you an
Show us again. I forgot them. I didn't write them down.
That's okay. I'll go back to the slide. Denial, a perfect example of denial is coming up, the next one. Oh, I'm not interested in money. So denial is that saying, I don't have need for money. I'm above that. But let's go back, right? Take a moment if you want.
So it would be maybe more alienation?
Yes.
Fear of, if I charge that much, I couldn't charge that much because whatever.
Yes. And actually what I spoke about with the money can't buy you happiness is because that was so ingrained in the family structure, or in this person's head, I felt that I was going to be alienated from them if I started to succeed and grow as a business person. And yes, thank you for putting that in the chat. And judgment. Oh, sorry, shame. Not feeling worthy can be a two-way street. I don't feel worthy of receiving that huge amount of money. What would I do with it, or how would I be perceived? And you know what? Most of us aren't going to win the lottery. So it is a process where step by step, as your business grows, you start to receive greater wealth, but you have to be in a position to receive it. That's the key phrase. You have to be in a mindset to receive it. It doesn't just all come at once. So step by step is giving yourself permission to charge your worth. All right, let's try a few more. And you can't keep throwing money around.
Shame and judgment.
Shame and judgment. That's pretty harsh one.
And scarcity.
That's right. Good. Did you win the lottery? I heard that one from a neighbor one time. It's crazy the things that people say to you when you're putting up Christmas lights. I just like lights. Did you win the lottery? Okay, so what would that fall under?
Well, it sounds like judgment
It
from
is.
the outside to
is
you.
It is a judgment, yeah. And
scarcity probably too.
yeah, like who you think you are showing off like this.
Mhm.
And what I did, I believe I said yes. Yeah, I'm good. Ooh, powerful one. Number 5B. The love of money is the root of all evil. And well, I'm going to open up the floor on that.
You know, I hear blame in that all of a sudden, and it's the first time I've ever heard that. But like blame, as in bad things happen because it's your fault, and it's because you have money. I'd never quite heard it quite like that before in my head.
Good. Yeah. There's actually, ladies, there's no right answer here. We're going to just dig deep. Anyone else want to speak on that?
I was thinking of shame and judgment.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I was thinking of alienation.
That's right. It can happen. You can get separated from people because you have money, and they equate that to being someone bad.
Right, because there's shame in not having money, and then there's shame in having too much money.
Right. As I sometimes say, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Like, give me a break. And we have the language around it. Number 10, they're dirt poor or they're filthy rich. We really shame people for having money or not having money. You haven't done enough. You're not enough. Either way.
Religion.
Thank you, Joanne. Would you like to add anything else?
It's interesting. Sorry, I was late.
I know. Because I am going to talk to you about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because religion makes you think that you cannot be rich, but at the same time, they are asking you to give money at the church. So, like,
Yeah.
That's why often we are lost.
Yeah.
Okay, people they don't know what to do. So it's pretty interesting.
It is, and as I started growing my business and expanding into greater wealth, opening to receive it, and talking to, because I grew up in a Christian home, and talking to some Christians about this, and hearing this phrase come back, it's the root of all evil. And some people actually believe that struggling, being that poor widow who gave her last dime, is a form of righteousness. It's a form of, I'm above it all, so I will stay here and struggle and suffer rather than expand my mind into having more resources so that I can give more if I choose, or not give if I choose. But it's up to you. But it's the freedom. Yes, poverty mindset. So I did put some answers on here, and yes, you can see here some of these things. Scarcity, shame. Scarcity comes up a lot, and this is why I left shame towards the end, because shame comes both ways. Even the talk where I said this old thing, I brought it on sale. I used to do that every single time. Yeah, Muggs is waving her hand. Every single time I got a compliment, I ran to minimize myself because I was afraid, and that's where the alienation can come in as well. I was afraid that someone would say, "Oh, she's rich." I actually had someone. I wore a very nice. Okay, one day my mom dressed me up in bell bottoms to go to school. This was not the bell bottom phase. This was in the 80s where skinny pants were the thing. So I was mortified. And in her mind, this was so gorgeous. And looking back, it does look gorgeous now because I'm open to receiving the bell bottom phase. But then I had a press shirt and bell bottoms. And one of the kids at school says, "You must be rich." And I felt horrible about it. I felt so alienated. I felt so shamed to be put apart from my peers. Now, I wasn't filthy rich, and neither were they, but they weren't poor. It wasn't an area of poverty, but these emotions, these strange emotions that someone can make you feel by saying a word in a certain way. I don't remember she said rich and spoiled, but I remember the word rich. And I just wanted to run and hide and put on a sackcloth and pretend that I was because I just didn't want to be separated and alienated from the rest of the group. So I have a second activity for you ladies. I'm going to pull up. Oh, someone was saying, let me just move over to the chat. Oh no, someone was going to beat up your sister, Pascal, because her clothes were too nice. Yeah, people can find so many ways to separate you from the pack for doing anything, even things that are positive. So I'm going to play a bit of music while I pull up this link for you. It is a quiz. It is a Money Talks quiz. So you guys are going to get an opportunity to actually score yourself. Here it is. Okay, score yourself. And if someone wouldn't mind, I have some text here. Wait, you can't see it. Let me make sure that you've got the right screen. I've got the right screen here showing you. Just a moment. And here is the quiz. Okay. And there is the text at the beginning. Anyone that would love to read it, well, let me explain first. You are going to check each column that applies to you. For example, money doesn't grow on trees. I've heard it. I've thought it. But thank goodness I didn't go as far as to say it to anyone yet. So heard it is 1 point. Thought it is 2 points. So together my row total for that is 3 points. It costed an arm and a leg. Yes, guilty. 6 points right away. So I am going to put this in the chat for you ladies to receive and open up your own quiz while I ask someone, my wing woman, Sarah, would you kindly read the text at the top?
Sure. More often than not, the beliefs held by our friends and family members play an important role in our belief system. The things that we heard or saw acted out can take root in our thoughts and actions. Take this opportunity to think deeply about the language that has surrounded you in relation to money. Consider how your subconscious attitude affects your decision-making as an entrepreneur, as this can create a tug of war with one's conscious desires.
Okay. And yes, let's try and grab that from the chat.
So I did it, Odiva, from, it's like it's a past, like the questions sound like, have you ever? And I'm noticing what I did in the past is different than what I am today.
Good. Yes.
And I'm interpreting it correctly, right?
You are interpreting it as the past. You're interpreting this as something that, you've heard in your environment, your family, someone says to you in the past. Just because we want to take just a little bit of a look at what our environment is. Okay, so and I'll give you a moment to give yourself a score. And I can play along with you. Yeah, that's what I'll do. All right. So, yes, save it for a rainy day. That was me. That was me. Heard that. It's only 1
I
point.
just did it wrong. I just realized I did it wrong. I
Oh,
just did 1 point for each row instead of
okay.
rows had more points. So
Yes, but thank you for bringing that to our attention. I'll just let you know again, each row has different amount of points. And so that's why I'll go through it with you. This whole thing, yes, that was totally me. Can't afford it. Favorite phrase. I wasn't that bold to tell somebody that they're throwing money around, but I've heard it. Yes, definitely heard that. It's only money. I think sometimes salespeople use that one. And I was thinking, do you really have the right to tell me it's only money? We shouldn't talk about money. No, that's not me. Do I look like Rockefeller? That sounds like my dad. And couldn't charge that much. I thought it. Yeah. So that's 3 points in that row. I'm not interested in money. Neither a borrower or lender be. Yes. Not this exact phrase, but culturally, my parents did not believe in credit at all. You buy something, even if you did use a certain level of credit, you paid it right off. And you paid for it out of your own money. And let me tell you, we could do another talk on that, but that is not the way to do business. That is not the way how successful and wealthy people do business. They use other people's money. And other people give them more money. The banks, they get those loans. And they find a way to balance it out so that they have credit, for number one, and they have the resources to continue to borrow and expand. So the whole not borrowing thing can actually hurt us in the long run. And as I told you before, that's a waste of money was my favorite phrase. Oh, wow. Big score. All right. So you can put your thoughts or any revelations that come up to you. As Loretta said, you may have changed your mindset completely now, or you may have some new awareness of the environment that you grew up in. So it's totally optional, but if you put your thoughts about this talk or about your revelations in here and you put an email in here, this form will go to your email. And yeah, I'll also be able to see it. If you want to remain anonymous, put your name here. But I mean, if you don't want to be anonymous, you can put your name here. But I encourage you to let's talk about it. Let's lay it out on the table. What is your score? What was the kind of environment that you were in or maybe still are in? And what are the things that you believed or the beliefs you held around money? Opening it up for Mary says, hi, score. Okay. Oh, Pascal. Yeah. All right. So who's ready to talk with me about their score? Mugs, yes.
I'm not sure what the numbers actually mean. It doesn't really give us a range, or I don't know.
Yes, I didn't put that much range in, but
well, yeah, I just wasn't sure, like if I was missing a portion of it. But my score was 58,
okay,
which is pretty high, I think, which is not a surprise to me at all. So, yeah, I think I was raised in a scarcity mindset. I think being from a large family, it was I was one of 9 children, and so it was kind of like we had that you cut, I choose. So if you cut something, you had to cut it equally because the other person would choose, right? So, and you may have all heard that saying before, but that's how I was raised. So, we didn't get a whole stick of gum. My dad would cut our piece of gum, our little, he had this brand that he liked, Wrigley's or something. Anyway, we would get like a third of a stick of gum. and he would fold it and tear it off in the foil. Swear. So stuff like that, So definitely I've done a lot of work on this though, Diva. You'd be so proud of me. So every day I do work around this issue, and that's why I'm here tonight, is because I was really interested in your topic, and I'm really happy to be here. So thank you so much.
Good. And I think it's an ongoing process. Again, even the wealthiest people still have money blocks. You don't come with the mindset is, if I move all my money blocks, I'll immediately get wealthy. No, if I remove my money blocks, I'll immediately have the freedom to really work with money and let it flow in and through me. Let's continue. Pascal, everybody's ready. Yay! Pascal, I called your name first, so go ahead.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. That was very eye-opening. Just when you think you've got things nipped in the bud, right? But we were raised very much, both my parents were very poor growing up. Like my mom she had one pair of socks for school and used to wash them every night and hang them over the curtain rod to dry for tomorrow, and, all these different things. And so we were raised very scarcity mindset. My mom, my dad would buy vegetables from the farmer. My mom, we would shuck the peas and snap the beans and all that kind of stuff. And then my mom would can them. And then we had shelves and shelves in the basement of food. So we never ran out, that it was that idea. And then it got to the point later on when they had more money, my dad would just go buy something expensive and then toss the credit card bill at my mom and be like, here you go, pay that. But then as an adult, when it came to them, I would feel that shame and that judgment, like, oh, no, I got it on sale. Or, I would be almost embarrassed to say that I splurged on something because that wasn't how we were raised,
Huge. All right. And Marie, your mic is off. Go ahead.
Okay. I was raised in a very humble beginnings and grew up in a small fishing village. So we were all kind of on the same wavelength. Nobody had a whole lot. And I remember as a kid, my parents were so proud. I was probably about 8 or 9 years old. My parents were so proud to get me a new winter's coat. I can still see it, the fake green leather. And, but I would put that coat on in the mornings and I would go out to the shed and I would take it off and put my old one on because I didn't want the other kids to think I was better than they were or that we had more somehow. And I still have a lot of that mindset in that I think you mentioned this, Odiva, I play everything down. Like if somebody says something nice about my home or whatever, I'm like, yeah, but did you see a crack in the window? Nothing is ever, it's interesting. This has been excellent. It's really, I'm surprised, like a lot of these things, I'm surprised they're still back there as much as you think, I think like Pascal said, as much as you think you've gotten over a lot of these things, they're still some of them are still back there. Yeah. This was great. Thank you very much.
Ongoing work. It's
yes.
a process. Yes. I remember for the first 3 decades of my life, if I ever got a compliment, my mind said, it's the lipstick. I still love lipstick today, but it was always deflected. It's just recently, now I'm reaching toward my 5th decade, that I'm able to say thank you. And sometimes bite my tongue a little bit so that I don't deflect or make an excuse. Thank you. Why is it so shameful to say, yeah, that's true? Okay. Loretta.
Oh, if this is on my head, I can't hear it. Y'all wouldn't be able to hear me. Well, I can relate to what everyone's saying. My dad grew up poor, and then he became a vice president of a company, so his money journey sort of shifted. But that mindset also sticks with it. That's relevant because when you started our evening tonight, and you had us to say, "I want this, I want that, I want." I was sitting here saying, I give myself this, I give myself freedom, I give myself more choices, and they were all okay until I got to the point where I said, I give myself money. Because in my world, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. She was of that generation that when she had us, she was a school teacher and they sent her home when she got pregnant. And my father did dig himself out. So there's that mentality, which is also kind of a mindset problem. But he was the breadwinner, and the resources came from him. And was like the upbringing was that money comes from other places. And I didn't realize that that's really a very demeaning thing. It means for me personally that it somehow makes me less. And so this whole entrepreneurship really is about finding a way to shift from, oh, well, my husband brings in the money. I just have the part-time job. and that's what's okay. It's like, and it's a very, I think there's, I don't know which one do we put? Is that alienation in a way? It feels like alienating myself from a part of my birthright. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like it can be a combination. That's the other thing. We can feel all of these things at once. As women, we're very complex. We can feel every emotion at once, and just separating them. And Muggs is saying she totally relates to you, and we relate to you. And yes, thank you for sharing. Thank all of you for sharing. And everyone is so ready to talk. Sarah, would you like to?
Yes, the stories about childhood brought so many memories for me. And my father, he's always had this allergy to money and people, wealthy people.
Mhm.
But it's when I was a child, he wanted me to go to the best school in Mexico City. So he did some research and he found the best school for me. So he would take me to school on a bicycle, and I would arrive to the best school in the city, where everybody else would arrive in limousines with chauffeurs, because it was a private school. I mean, my father, I don't know how he paid for that school. But there was something where he was really proud of, getting me on the bicycle to school. And this is, in Mexico, people don't ride bikes the way in other, places people would. So it was really unusual that I would arrive. But it was so funny because, I'm realizing he's always been proud of not having money, but education was important, and other things were more important. And I would come crying, like 3 years of suffering in this school because I was so alienated. I was so different from all the other children. They finally listened to me and took me to a Montessori school where I was much happier. But I'm just making now that connection because I've always, I've listened to how my father has these thoughts about money, but now I can see like where this pride comes for him and what's important for him. So you've helped me make these connections about, his beliefs, which I really, for a long time, I've known are his, and I don't necessarily have to take on the same beliefs, but it's what I grew up with.
Wow. Yes. Thank you for sharing. That is something, to the concept of being proud to be poor. And yet the need is there to go to this big, great school. You had to have that money, and there's a division there.
Right. So proud that I got into college with a full scholarship, very expensive college, but with a full scholarship. So yes, I mean, it's wonderful to have that education and those opportunities. And it's just so interesting to think back, where those beliefs about money are coming from.
Where they come from. Yeah. And it's just in case the cobwebs get into us, and stick around. Joanne, please, welcome.
Yes, very interesting, ladies. Very interesting. For me, it's kind of everything. You're making me realizing that I've been always fighting for what I think. Even though I was the last one, so I came when things were good. So maybe I brought the money. I don't know. But they were still playing small. So, and myself, I'm always doing things differently. You see, so sometimes I do stuff they don't even know because they're still playing small, and I always think that I can do everything,
Yes.
So that's why it's, for me, I feel that I was fighting, because I could not own what I had in mind, or because if I say it, they would say, oh no, do this, save for later, or you're throwing away money and stuff like that. So I was fighting with their way of thinking, and then
alienation. Yeah, shame.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's now I'm gonna own it. Like, yeah, because I sometimes, like I told you, like I was like, I don't tell them what I'm doing because they will have judgment, or so it's a kind of fight inside me because I don't show up the way I am or the way I think.
Your full self. Yeah.
Exactly. So it was interesting to listen to all that, and then, go over and listening to all of you ladies to, it's a real realization. Thank you.
And I would say in my family, we grew up rich. No, I'm kidding. I just wanted to say that and see how it felt. Without feeling shameful about it. My brother, oh my God, always said, you grew up during the good times. I grew up on the, kind of the little bike times. And But yeah, so I relate to being the youngest in the family. But it's really something when you have that society or family structure still around you, and the pressure to minimize yourself can overwhelm you, especially if you're, from what I'm hearing, Joanne, an out of the box thinker. And that's why I put,
I am, even to be an entrepreneur.
yeah.
It's like, are you okay? Like, so.
And I took one of the phrases out. I took a few out of the quiz. And go ahead, put your score in the box. No shame. Just tell us what your score came up to be. I think mine was 52. And you can take it again as the present. You take it as the past, how you were, and take it as the present, as what you were working on. Because one of the phrases that I had in the slideshow was family, and let me just grab that. So we'll get back to saying it together. That's the part you missed, Joanne. But family comes first. And that phrase, it's in, let's see, section B, 9. That phrase can be used almost like a prison. There's no gentle way of saying it. You need to stay at this level so that we can understand you, so that we can reach you, so that you are a part of us or understood by us. Expanding past that, God forbid, then they start throwing the money is the root of all evil one at you. And you're like, oh my God, you just called me Satan. What are you talking about? So moving mindsets away from that, it takes time, but you're on the first step. You have decided to increase your awareness of the money blocks and the judgment that comes. So we talked about past and family and things like that, but keep in mind that now as entrepreneurs, you are selling your service. Keep in mind how you feel when you start to tell somebody how much your service costs. Is there an inner struggle? I admit I still have an inner struggle talking about money because I just haven't my entire life. That's just the way it was. So I want to get your, and I popped this up on the screen accidentally before time, but I want to get your impression on this, did I just move it? Can you see my screen still? Yeah. Okay. This lady, what's some of your initial impressions about her, this lifestyle? Pascal, yes.
I immediately, when I saw the picture, and I feel terrible for this, when I saw the picture of her in the black dress, and I'm like, snooty, but maybe not. Maybe her hairband was falling out, and right? But the judgment.
Go ahead. I'll take another comment. Judgment came about. Oh yes, we almost at the same time. Go ahead, Loretta, and then Mux.
So this would fit my past. It would be okay. So there's a kept woman. She's not taking care of herself. She's not. Somebody else is giving her the money to have that leisurely day to go shopping. It's not of her own. So I know where that's coming from.
Okay, good. Yes. What are you telling yourself subconsciously? All right. And Mux?
I put in the chat, movie star.
Oh, so that's like something really far away. It's like not me. That's those people over there are open and available to be wealthy. Sarah, your hand moved. Yes.
I was trying to figure out what my reaction was, and I couldn't put it into words. And suddenly I was like, because of consumerism like this, the planet is on the state that it's at.
Good one. Oh, we got judgment and blame. Well, I have something to tell you about this particular lady. Yes, she's living quite a glamorous lifestyle, but she's also the founder of a huge charitable organization that provides for kids in under or developing countries.
Well, now I feel terrible.
No, no. What I
I still
want
feel like she had to go shopping for all those things.
to actually, she's shopping for herself. Now, how does that resonate with you? Just give it a moment to sit and simmer a little bit.
I'll be honest. I am also kind of feeling like, man, that would be amazing to just go shopping and buy what you want and not think about it. And here, take my bags. I'm going to go shopping some more. That would feel pretty amazing.
Okay.
I don't
Loretta?
have it in me.
Okay,
That-
go ahead, Loretta.
I really, it's like,
Full barrel.
it would be nice, but I still would be like, no, I only get to have so much. That's not for me. I have only what I need. Wow, that's really in there. Only what you need.
Okay.
Oh, please.
Actually, when I filled out my indulgent why at the beginning of this business program that some of our in, my indulgent why was I would love to be able to walk into a shopping mall and just buy whatever I wanted,
That
not
freedom.
looking at price tags.
That's freedom. Okay. And Marie?
Oh, I was just going to say that my first reaction right away was, oh, please. And I don't care who we are. Our first reactions are just to have a judgment right away.
Yes.
Because we're feelings, and that's what we do.
Yes, that is what I was feeling. And then that's what I was looking for. Because for me, to see a charity organization founder kind of rolling in the wealth, wait a minute, sister. You are supposed to be giving every one of those bags to some kids. You cannot have your own car. You need to be driving in a broken down car. You do not need to have jets everywhere. And then it hit me. What am I saying to myself with my business that is based on giving and helping other people? Am I telling myself I don't get a paycheck and everything that comes in has to go right back out in order to subside the judgment that other people might have on me? There are probably people that come up to this lady in the street and say, how dare you? You're a part of this organization. How dare you have money? How dare you get paid? And the reality is, if you don't get paid for the work that you do, you can't do more work. Because my image, I guess, of charity workers was driving in a broken down, Pinto or whatever they could afford. And then that car breaks down and you can't get to the organization and you can't set up the event for the kids because you minimized yourself to the point where you're not expanding or accessible. So, yeah, that was a huge revelation for me. The judgment that we are putting on others. I try to do this as a kind of extreme case, but that judgment that we put on others, it comes right back in our business. Yeah. Let's take a deep breath. Okay. So all of it is surrounded in fear. Yes, Pascal, be gentle with yourselves, ladies. The money, our conditioning with money is based on a lot of fear of rejection, fear of judgment. Oh, rejection is in there twice. Okay. Fear of vulnerability. And this one I found was really hit home for me. Fear of exposure. Because reaching a certain level of success, other people see you. You can't hide anymore in your little, cubicle at work. And people can judge you for being too successful, who she thinks she is. Or if I don't like this word fail. Maybe Pascal can give me a better word for it. If you stumble and your business, this is another thing that I had to deal with. If you stumble and your business goes down or you get bankrupt, I can't remember who recently, gotta find her name. Dirty Girl or Filthy Gal or someone who made this big clothing business and it was Nasty Gal,
Nasty Gal, the girl boss book.
Girl Boss.
Right? Yeah.
That was a huge thing. You know, she went bankrupt and everybody saw. Of course, she turned it around and made another business that was even better. But to be exposed like that, you said you were successful, and now you've stumbled. And the fear of looking greedy or conceited, which is the same thing where someone tells you you're doing good, you're looking good, and you don't say thank you. So we've touched on all of these, and I want to wrap things up by saying, or maybe not saying anything, because pictures have the power, and you have the power. Yes, Loretta, we have the power to create our own story around money. And this is the fear. And this is the flow. Investing, borrowing, lending, spending, saving, without shame. That's where we want to be. So, without the shame, without the shame. So I want to wrap this up by getting to the beginning, so that Joanne can get a chance to say it. And those of you that feel good about it, say it with me. We can all unmute ourselves and let's say it together. Muggs, you have a great voice. You can be our cheerleader. let's all. And okay, those of you that aren't ready to take your mics off, you can leave the mics on. Everybody's ready? Yes. Take the mics off. Let the dog cheer as well in the background. All right, Muggs, lead us into it. This cheer.
Say it with me. I want more power.
I want power.
I want more respect.
I want more respect.
I want more freedom.
I want more freedom.
I want more options.
I
want more options.
I want more money.
I
want more
money.
Wow.
Okay, that felt different.
It felt different.
Totally.
Yay! Loretta said it with us. Yay! 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 We are not repelling. We are attracting and just flowing with it, letting it flow. Ooh. Thank you, beautiful, beautiful sisters, all, for joining me today in this talk. And pass it on. No shame.